What's up, guys? It's the 3 a.m. Coney. Schedule has released finally. I mean, we've been waiting on this schedule for so long. It's the final puzzle piece of the offseason. Maybe I can finally stop thinking about, I'm not even going to pretend that that's possible, that I can stop thinking about this upcoming Cincinnati Bengals season, because in my opinion, it's going to be the greatest season in Cincinnati Bengals history, regular season at least. And, that's where I want to start real quick at the top of the show, addressing kind of just Bengals fans in general before we get into this game-by-game breakdown and predict each game. I think with the schedule release and everything that's gone on and so much trash talk being hurled at the Cincinnati Bengals, understandably, so much doubt, the words fluke, the words lucky, the words regression being used. All these heavy words that can elicit emotional responses from Cincinnati Bengals fans. And we were a minute and a half away as a fan base from being able to just tweet a Lombardi trophy at everybody and that being the end of it. But instead, as Cincinnati Bengals fans, we don't know how to react. And it's a lot of emotion, and it's a lot of anger, and it's a lot of not understanding where all these fan bases are coming from. And my main point is this, and, I fell victim to it too. So I'm not sitting here holier than thou about arguing with other fan bases. But I can tell you this. I thought this 2021 season would have woken everybody else up. I really thought the 2 weeks of Super Bowl hype and Michael Irvin saying, man, if they fix that offensive line, nobody can beat them. I thought that the respect and the adoration and the statistics that were finally shown, finally piled on the Bengals in the 2 weeks leading up to the Super Bowl would educate and change everybody's mind on the team. Well, apparently it did not. And I think that if the 2021 season didn't change your opinion on the Bengals as an organization, how they operate, didn't change your opinion on Joe Burrow as a quarterback, as a leader, as a man, then the only way it'll change is multiple championships. Multiple championships. And that's fine. That's fair. I'll keep being in front of it. I'll keep telling you guys how good Joe Burrow is. The Bengals fans will keep telling you how good he is, how successful this Bengals team can be. Because we did it last year and everybody looks stupid. And I just can't believe the whole world is walking into the trap again. And so my message to Bengals fans, from now on, when you are approached with or come across a tweet, a Facebook post, anything that you find disrespectful to the Cincinnati Bengals, which I promise there will be more disrespectful tweets towards the Cincinnati Bengals than any summer in history. When you come across those from now on, stop arguing. Stop. Just tweet players. Just tag them in it. And just let them do the work. Because we're just wasting breath. Other fan bases will never respect the Cincinnati Bengals until they hang banners with an S, win championships with an S. And the price of losing a Super Bowl, guys, is they're going to throw a lot of crap at us. So we're just going to have to deal with it. Let's get to our game-by-game schedule predictions. That's what you guys are here for. That's what I'm ready to deliver. The Bengals schedule has completely released, and I showed a little bit in there in the preview thumbnail of what my predictions are going to be. I'm not going to reveal the whole thing. I've got a whole recap that we're going to do at the end of this all, but I want to go game by game for the Cincinnati Bengals and predict their season. We start with week 1, the first ever home opener against the Pittsburgh Steelers, first ever season opening game against the Pittsburgh Steelers, a Steelers team that I think was better than a lot of people gave them credit for last year. They had a really hobbled quarterback, and I just think they're in a tough division. I like their offseason, frankly, a little better than a couple of the other AFC North. I mean, I know adding Deshaun Watson, I like the Ravens draft, and I don't like the Kenny Pickett draft pick, but I have a lot of healthy respect for the Steelers. I think they're going to be a solid team in the NFL season, but I think the Bengals come out all summer to think about it, all this fluke talk, all this, hey, they're not good enough. They're not good enough talk. I think it pays off with a win for the Cincinnati Bengals in the home opener. And I don't think you're going to find a lot of Bengals procrastinators, not procrastinators, prognosticators. It's prognosticators. I got to stop with the big words. I don't think you're going to find anybody that's going to predict the Steelers to win this game. Now, they can. They're good enough. They could spoil the party, but I just don't think on the day that you're raising the AFC Championship banner that Joe Burrow is going to lose that game, especially it being a division game, the home opener, full focus, full health. I like the Cincinnati Bengals to win in week 1, bringing the record to 1-0. Week 2, Bengals at Cowboys. That game is in a dome. So that's a Joe Burrow show. The Cowboys lost arguably their best wide receiver, although I'd take CeeDee Lamb, but arguably their best wide receiver, Amari Cooper, to Cleveland. They lost their best right tackle to Cincinnati and didn't really find ways to improve throughout the offseason. I could see regression from the Cowboys, and I see a 4:25 p.m. nationally televised in Dallas, big show for the Bengals to put on against the Cowboys. They win that game in a dome, and the Bengals go to 2-0 to start the season. Week 3, Bengals at Jets. I have the Bengals. I think the Jets are a real threat this year. I think the Jets can win 7, 8, 9, 10 games if things break their way. I really do. And I think they're going to give the Ravens and the Browns, the two teams they play before the Bengals, some trouble. So I don't think the Bengals will be sleeping on the Jets by this point. They also got beat by the Jets last year. I think everybody's looking for revenge for the Mike White game. So the Bengals defeat the Jets and start 3-0, as they should. They will be favored in these first 3 games. At least they should be favored. And I think they'll win all 3 and start the season 3-0. And that comes to our first primetime game. And the first game I really had trouble with, left or right, Thursday Night Football on Amazon, Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit. I love the addition of Kirk Herbstreit to that crew. I think he's going to do an excellent job. And I think he'll do an excellent job calling a Bengals victory here against the Dolphins. First time under the bright lights, at home. It's going to be an energetic crowd that knows they don't have a lot of home primetime games. That one is going to be a ton of fun with Tua in the stadium. You've got Tua, Burrow, and I just think the Bengals will win that game. I like what the Dolphins did, and I think they can be explosive. But I think the way the Bengals team is designed is to stop an offense like Dolphins. They're working a lot of short slants. They're going to be working a lot out of the slot, and that's the strength of the Bengals defense. If you can throw over the top and go outside, that's how you can have a lot of success against the Cincinnati Bengals secondary. So a 4-0 start so far for the Bengals is what I have. We get to week 5, Bengals at Ravens. Now, everything I've been saying is, hey, they're going to stomp the Ravens over and over again. I've said that a million times. And then the way the schedule comes out, this is where I come to my first loss for the Cincinnati Bengals against the Baltimore Ravens on the road on Sunday Night Football. So the thing about Sunday Night Football road games, they're really difficult. And road primetime games are difficult anyway. Paul Dehner Jr. had a great stat in The Athletic about the winning percentages of home teams on primetime. It's statistically significant. So it is a hurdle to overcome for the Cincinnati Bengals to have 3 divisional games on the road in primetime. So for me to sit here and predict that they're going to win all 3 of those would be insane. This one, they've got 10 days to prepare for the Ravens, but the Ravens have had 365 days plus of only exclusively thinking about the butt whoopings that the Cincinnati Bengals gave them. They will be at home, probably with 1 or 2 losses, knowing they need to win against a 4-0 team. The Bengals are riding high, top of the division, and it is a barn burner. Lamar Jackson gets the victory over the Cincinnati Bengals, and the Bengals go to 4-1. Then it moves to a game that I just have no way on this earth would Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase lose this game. Bengals at Saints. That's a win. They move to 5-1. Now, this is the easy part of the schedule. Falcons, that's a win. Even if it's Desmond Ridder, that'll be a fun game in Cincinnati, but he's not good enough to beat the Cincinnati Bengals. And now the Bengals are at, let me do the quick count, 6-1. We go to week 8. Bengals at Browns, Monday Night Football on ESPN. I think this is going to be a really tough game. I believe Deshaun Watson is going to play. I respect the Browns roster. I think the Browns are really talented. I think the Browns might finish second, probably will finish second in this division. But I have the Bengals redeeming themselves on primetime. They just had 2 easy games. A lot of time to think about Bengals-Browns. I like the place of this game in the schedule. Big win on Monday Night Football. The next week would have been a loss for me if they didn't put the worst team, in my opinion, on the Bengals schedule. Matt Rule's going to be sweating through his polos by week 9 because this team's going to be 2-6 or something. So Panthers, the fact that they're the team jammed right before the bye week, remember that's the same spot the Bengals lost to the Jets last year. The fact that they're jammed right before that bye week, the worst team on your schedule, a team that I'm not really scared of in any way. I was a little scared of the Jets last year. I predicted the Jets would beat the Bengals in the preseason a year ago, and I predicted 9-8 last year. So let's just remember that while I'm going through these predictions, that I have been rational and logical many, many times before, and I believe these predictions are rational and logical. I think this would be a loss because of the Monday night heading into a bye week, huge win against the Browns, against any other team on the schedule. Even the Falcons, I think, could get the Bengals in this scenario. The only team that can't is the Carolina Panthers, and I think the Bengals head into the bye week a scorching, on fire 8-1, which we've compared this team to the 1992 Cowboys. Remember the 91 Cowboys, same points per game and points allowed as the 2021 Bengals. The 92 Cowboys started the season 8-1 as well. So the fact that matched up, I didn't mean to do that, but hey, history helps. Then you have the bye week. Now you play the Pittsburgh Steelers on the other side of the bye week, and the Steelers got to be ticked off because the Bengals are given the home opener. So you've got all of training camp, all of preseason to prepare for Pittsburgh. Then you have week 11 out of the bye week on a Sunday night that the Bengals get to head into Pittsburgh. And I think they're going to win that game as well. I think they're a better team than Pittsburgh. You give them the bye week to prepare. Again, I wanted to predict a split against the Steelers, but the positioning in the schedule I really like out of week 11. So, I mean, now we're looking at a real strong record here through 11 weeks. They've only lost one game, so they're 9-1. They play the Titans, and the Titans got worse this year. The Bengals already haunted the city of Nashville. I think by week 12, the Titans are going to be sitting around 500 and realize they might be the third best team in their division in the AFC South, because I think the Jaguars are spicy, right? So when you're the third best team in your division, maybe by week 12, Bengals are rolling. They win this game. They move to 10-1. And this is where it gets hard. And this is where I'm going to predict losses for the Bengals, even though I think they're the better team and I think they can win. Because if this team, after making a run to the Super Bowl, fits the prediction I just made and is going to go 10-1, they will be way in the lead in the division. They'll be way in the lead in the AFC. They'll have taken advantage of a soft early season schedule to really get the hype train rolling around the city, get the hype train rolling around the team. There will be a lot of positive momentum, but that night might not be good heading into the toughest stretch of your season. When you feel like you have it wrapped up, you're already at 10 wins. That's why they'll lose to the Chiefs. Not that the Chiefs are a better team. Patrick Mahomes is the type of quarterback that can stretch this Bengals secondary on the outside, no matter who the receivers are. And you have Andy Reid, and they're 0-2. So I hope they come in focused into Cincinnati, and I think the Chiefs win that game, pushing the Bengals down to 10-2. This is where it starts to stack up. You get a little nervous if you're Cincinnati. Browns at Bengals. I think the Browns come in. They're really settled now with Deshaun. I think he'll be real integrated, and the Browns are going to be in a dogfight for the playoffs at this point because the AFC is brutal. It is stacked. And that's why the Bengals have to have success early in the season, because you want this scenario of having this cushion. And I think they'll lose this game to Cleveland. So that pushes them down to 10-3 as we move into week 15, where they play at Tom Brady. Joe Burrow doesn't really lose 3 straight games. Hasn't happened much other than the rookie year, and it really didn't happen much there because he got hurt. I think they win this game. I think it's a huge prove-it moment for Joe Burrow. I think the Buccaneers will have it pretty well wrapped up. Bengals more to play for. I think they get the victory against Tampa Bay, moving them to 11-3. They're going to feel really secure about their place in the playoffs, really secure about their place in the division. So they'll lose in New England on Christmas Eve. That's a tough game at Foxborough, in Foxborough. I think the Patriots will miss the playoffs. First time ever, though, Joe Burrow playing Bill Belichick. And I love Joe. And I think Joe's the smartest quarterback other than Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers in the league right now. And I think he's the best processor. But Bill Belichick's tough. Bill Belichick has confused the greatest quarterbacks of all time. And so I think that the first time playing Bill, 11-3, the team might not be super focused. They just beat Tom Brady. They're probably clinched a playoff, might have clinched the division. And I think they lose that game to fall to 11-4. Final 2 games of the season, though, this is to wrap up the 1 seed and the division. They'll have Bills at Bengals. I think this game's for the 1 seed. I'll say it right now. I think Bills at Bengals, Week 17, Monday Night Football on ESPN. Winner is the 1 seed. Loser is the 2 or 3, depending on the tiebreakers through the rest. But the winner of this game will be the 1 seed. Thank God that game's in Cincinnati. And I think the Bengals win a thriller in an AFC Championship preview, maybe. I don't like predicting playoffs. We got to focus on the regular season first here. And I think Bills, Bengals win that game, move their record to 12-4. And then Week 18 against the Ravens, I think the Bengals win this game if they need to win it for seeding. We'll say they need to. So it's 13-4. But they might not, so they might do the same thing they did with the Browns last year and go 12-5. So that's the schedule. That's the prediction. Let's take a look at the full thing now of where I think the Bengals will finish in 2022. Remember, this is way too early. Things are subject to change. I'm allowed to read training camp reports. I'm allowed to gain more information or see new stats, and I'm allowed to change these in a future show, just FYI. But this right here is my full predictions for the season. We look at them now. The hot start, again, a lot of winnable games early in the schedule. Steelers, Cowboys, Jets, Dolphins. I think the Bengals are better teams than them. I think the Bengals are really going to be focused. And we talk about health regression, or at least other fan bases talk about health regression for the Bengals. Can't really talk about that in the first 4 weeks. So I even with the arguments other fan bases use towards me against Cincinnati, I think you can see them winning all 4 of those games. Plus, I think with where the momentum is for the organization, they are due for a hot start. And they started hot last year as well, 3-1. So I think 4-0, not crazy, but a primetime win against Miami, and the head's getting a little too big against a Ravens team that'll be healthy at this point, and Lamar, who's got a lot to prove on a Sunday night game on the road in Baltimore. That'll be a thriller, a barn burner, but a loss. Then you have another easy stretch, Saints, Falcons, Panthers. I think they redeem themselves in a tough road game on Monday night against Cleveland. I would predict a loss against the Steelers in Pittsburgh, but it's out of the bye week. And I really think Joe Burrow is going to prove he's one of the best quarterbacks out of a bye week, just like Tom Brady and Peyton Manning were throughout their career. I think Tennessee is a worse team than Cincinnati. I think they're going to win that game. And then at this point, they are going to have so much wrapped up and so much momentum with that type of record of 10-1 that they're going to drop games to really good teams. They'll drop one to the Chiefs at home. They'll drop one to the Browns at home. They'll get up for the Buccaneers and win that one. They'll lose a tough road game in Foxborough because, hey, that's Joey B's first time playing Bill Belichick. That's going to be a tough game. Then they beat the Bills to clinch the 1 seed. And then if they need the last game for some sort of seeding or division title or whatever against Baltimore, they'll win that game. But if they don't, they might lose it. And then Ravens fans can miss the playoffs and brag about how they swept the Bengals, just like the Cleveland Browns did this year, which I think the Ravens fans would love, right? I mean, because that's the main goal, is just only beating the Bengals, nothing else in the NFL, right, guys? I'm just messing with you. I got a lot of Browns fans that listen to the show, so I always gotta mess with them. So that's my final prediction. Again, 13-4 for the Cincinnati Bengals. I think the schedule really lines up for them getting I think when they're just going to start hot. Look at this schedule and just try to tell me they're not going to start hot. Because you get the Steelers, who will have a new quarterback. Best time to get the Steelers, going to be week 1. Best time to get the Pittsburgh Steelers is week 1. They don't know who their quarterback is. Fans are going to be arguing, Trubisky, Pickett, Trubisky, Pickett, Trubisky, Pickett. If it's Trubisky, you get his first game in a brand new system, in a brand new team. If it's Pickett, you get a rookie's debut, which rookies almost never win their debut. So you love that week 1 location for Pittsburgh. And even though I really respect the Steelers, and I think they're going to be a around 500 team this year, depending on quarterback play, the Bengals get them out of the bye week. So the Steelers are just put in a really tough position in terms of their Bengals games. Not the Ravens. The Ravens might get the Bengals soft in week 18 because they've got things clinched up, and they've got a road primetime game against Baltimore, which Baltimore's really going to like themselves in to win that game. So there it is, full season prediction. You can comment on whatever right now. I will open up for comments if anybody's watching that wants to comment about the record. I can see them and put them up on screen, by the way. So if you want to do that, I can do that. We can discuss some of the parts of this schedule. But 13-4, I really think this is the rational prediction, guys. This is a team that was a 10-7 team, probably an 11-6 team if they needed to play week 18 last year. They were at 10.5 wins by Pythagorean win-loss. So they actually underperformed their points scored, points allowed formula for their wins and losses. They underperformed it. Their schedule actually gets easier based on Vegas preseason over-under win totals. It was 4th last year. It's 11th this year. Joe Burrow is 1 year older, entering year 3, which year 2 to 3 is the biggest jump for quarterbacks. Jamar Chase, who just broke the rookie wide receiving record, is entering his 2nd year. And that 1st to 2nd year jump is the biggest jump for wide receivers. We just saw it for T. Higgins. Now Jamar Chase gets to have it. We just saw it for Justin Jefferson. He got better. So all these things add up, and it's going to be a great team. It will be the best team in Bengals history. It will be the best team in the NFL. It will be the best team in the AFC. That's what the Cincinnati Bengals will be in 2022. And I just think with an offensive line sneaking into the top 15, that's what they'll be. With everybody being a year older, so you don't have the inconsistencies and the random turnovers that would happen at the most critical times last year. I think that goes away. I think that this culture is locked in, this coaching staff, full continuity. Nobody's talking about Buffalo changing their offensive coordinator, who got a head coaching job and got a lot of credit for Josh Allen's development. Bengals have no such questions. They have no such turnover. The biggest piece they lost was a tight end, an overrated tight end. Again, I love CJ Uzomah and his energy, but he's just a product of the offense. And Hayden Hurst will plug right in and be a product of the offense. And I bet Hayden Hurst is better. So I think the Bengals, if anything, got significantly better in the offseason. And I think the offensive line additions are full proof of that. If this Bengals offensive line is top 15, which the Athletic has them projected as the 10th best pass protection unit right now. If this Bengals offensive line is top 15, not even top 10, not even top 5, just average, and Joe Burrow takes less than 35 sacks, this might be the greatest offense in NFL history. And I'm dead serious about that. And I told you last year in the preseason, Jamar Chase, I said 1,500 yards and 10 touchdowns, and that you should draft him in the first round of your fantasy drafts. What happened? I mean, I am not being irrational here with 13-4. And your guys are lucky I didn't go with 15-2. I was nice and said, they might relax down the stretch when they've got a lead. But this thing is coming for the NFL. This machine in Cincinnati is coming for the NFL. And the fact that everybody is sitting out there doubting it is only making it more likely. I would be pumping the brakes if the national media, if opposing fan bases, if everybody and their mother was adoring the Bengals and pouring love and pouring sugar and honey and sweets and fattening up the egos of the Bengals players. That's not happening. The exact opposite is happening. They are piling on. They are doubling down on the broke organization, on the cheap organization. They're doubling down on the fact that Joe Burrow's overrated. They're doubling down on the fact that you can take Jamar Chase out of a game. They're doubling down on the fact that the secondary can't hang. They're doubling down on the fact that Sam Hubbard's not elite enough. They are doubling down that everything that happened was a fluke. And a lot of people are tripling down. And so the fact that that exists in this universe at the level and at the vitriol that it exists with, and with how much this young team of Bengals players exists and can manage social media and sees it and hears it and brings it inside and uses it as motivation, hell yes, it's an advantage. Let them talk. Let them say, hey, no, you should not be this optimistic. You should not be this optimistic, Bengals fan. Your team might have improved significantly. It's only weakness, but you, Bengals fan, better not think your team's going to be great. That's kind of crazy, especially from the type of fan bases we're hearing it from. Because no other fan base would act differently than the Bengals have been acting. So again, my message at the beginning and my reminder about the schedule, Bengals are going to go 13-4. Believe it. Honestly, they could go 15-2 It depends how ticked off for greatness they're going to be down the stretch here against the Chiefs and Browns and Patriots. But I think they're going to be an elite team. It'll be the greatest team in Bengals history. It'll be the best offense in the NFL. And they're going to win a bunch of games, and they're going to blow out a bunch of teams. They already blew out 6 last year, 6 blowouts last year with an offensive line that acts like the turnstiles at public transit stations. So if that becomes an average unit, I think the Cincinnati Bengals are a rocket ship to the moon. And I think I've got the track record to back it up. I said 9-8 last year. Year before that, I predicted 8-9 or 9-7, I think. The year before that, because it was 16 games. And Joey B got hurt, and I think they could have got to 8-7-1 down the stretch of that season. So I look at these predictions. I take them serious. I pay attention to the whole league as much as I can to try to get this Bengals prediction right, to feel how the season's going to go. And the last time I was way off was the 2017 Bengals. Was when I doubled down that 2016 was a fluke injury year. And that's the last time I've been way off. But 2018, 2019, I think 2019, I might have picked 6-10 just to try to be nice to Zach Taylor. But when you bench Andy Dalton, you're only going to win 2 games. And thank God they did. They got Joe Burrow. So I think my track record speaks for itself. I've written about these. They're out there. And we'll do a write-up of this one as well. But my official Bengals predictions, one more time, guys. There it is, 13-4. And I think a lot of people are going to be sitting at this prediction because I think it's a rational prediction. And I think to think they're going to be the best team in the AFC is a rational thought. We just watched the Cincinnati Bengals in the Super Bowl, for crying out loud. I don't know how any thought I have could be irrational. I mean, seriously, other than 17-0. But even then, if you talk to people in Athens, if you talk to anybody that has watched this kid from the start, and you ask them, is 17-0 possible? I think a lot of them tell you, yeah, I'm not going to count it out. They'd say, probably not, but it's not impossible. So when you're existing in that space as a fan base, you'd be crazy to be going out there and going, oh, they might win 10 games, 10-7, 9-8. I think you're doing yourself a real disservice if you do that, because there's no reason not to believe. And we believed for no reason last year. So we can't switch now. If we believe for no reason and now there's reason to believe, we can't not believe. That'd be crazy. You'd be insane. So don't be insane. Be a Bengals fan. And thank you so much for watching. There's my predictions one more time. I absolutely love it. And I love you so much for listening to us and watching the 3 a.m. Coney. I got to go play some 2K. Relax. Stop thinking about football for a while. Oh, my gosh. Schedule's out. Bengals going 13-4, baby. I wanted to predict 15-2, but then you guys would think I'm just a fan. So 13-4. Probably relax down the stretch. There's your 2022 Bengals. I don't know what's going to happen in the playoffs. It's a freaking crapshoot. But we got Joey B, and that means you got a shot to win it all. We'll see you guys next time.